The Mace, Minecraft's most powerful weapon. If you've been looking for a tutorial that teaches you every technique for Mace PvP, then you have found the perfect video. In this tutorial, I'll be going into a deep dive for every technique, starting with simple things like how to wind charge correctly, and moving up to more advanced skills like grappling and stun slamming. If you want to fast forward, I've included timestamps for every skill, but I would recommend watching all of the techniques in order because I will be referring to previous skills while going over the complex ones. The first and easiest thing we'll be covering is the kit and what each thing does. In the official Mace kit that you will use in tier tests and most practice servers, you will find two different types of maces. The first will be your density mace. The density mace is best used when falling from over 10 blocks. This would be when using a wind charge or when chaining hits. This is because density does more damage the further you fall. While your second mace, enchanted with breach, only focuses on doing more damage through your opponent's armor. So you will want to use this mace when you are under 10 blocks in the air. Lastly, you will find movement devices. This would be your elytra, ender pearls, and wind charges. These are to help you maneuver around and better hit your opponents. Now, let's talk about the first strategy you will need to know when playing Mace. This would be how to wind charge correctly and most efficiently. This is very simple when you aren't using an elytra. You simply want to press the jump key at the same time that you throw your wind charge. This will give you the max height from singular wind charge. However, when you use an elytra, you will want to do it a little differently. First, you will want to start flying, then look down, then as you hit the ground, throw your wind charge and immediately look up. This will launch you into the air much farther and much faster than you would without an elytra. Next, before we talk about any way to use your maces, let's first talk about how to dodge them, so that we don't die before we even get off the ground. The main strategy you will see your enemies using is called dive bombing. This is when your opponent gets up in the air and quickly dives down to try and mace you. There are three main ways to escape getting hit in these situations. First is just ender pearling away. The mace kit comes with many stacks of ender pearls, so throwing a short pearl to escape your enemy's attacks is an easy way to dodge a mace. The second and probably most dangerous way is to hold up your shield. If you know that your opponent isn't very experienced with the mace, then holding up your shield is a great way to defend yourself. But be cautious, because there are many different ways for players to get around your shield and hit you. The third and final way to safely dodge an attack is by elytraing away. Learned about when using wind charges, simply elytra wind charging up is an easy way to avoid your enemy's attacks and gain height to start an attack. Lastly, before we learn to attack our enemies, we first have to learn how to quickly gain height so that you can hit your opponents. This technique is called pearl catching. It is a relatively simple skill that just involves throwing an ender pearl straight into the air, quickly followed by a wind charge. If both are thrown straight up, then the wind charge will collide with the pearl and teleport you many blocks into the air. The timing is very easy, but you will need to do it at a relatively fast pace, or else the pearl will go off course where the wind charge cannot hit it. Finally, we can talk about the best methods to attack our enemies. As mentioned when we talked about dodging, the easiest and most effective method to kill or pop your opponent is dive bombing. This is done by pearl catching or wind charging so that you are high up in the air and then quickly flying down at your target. You will want to swap your elytra with your chestplate when you're about 5 to 10 blocks from the ground so that your mace will actually do damage. But what do you do if your opponent holds out their shield while you're flying down to hit them? Well, there are two main ways to get around your enemy's shield. The first and easier method is called a backstab. As the name implies, it's done by flying behind your opponent and macing them in the back. This works because the shield only blocks the front 180 degrees that a person is looking at. This allows you to dodge your opponent's shield without having to use any hard keybinds, but it does require either a high sensitivity or you'd have a larger mousepad, because you are doing a 180 degree turn very quickly. The second method, and much more difficult way to get through your opponent's shield, is called stun slamming. This is done by using your axe to break their shield mid-fall, and then quickly swapping to your mace to deal the damage. Stun slams can become increasingly more difficult the higher you are, so I would recommend this practice map linked in the description. A good way to conserve your resources against a better player or deal high amounts of damage from short falls, would be to breach swap. Breach swapping, or attribute swapping, is when you hit your enemy with your sword or axe, and then in the same second, swapping to your breach enchanted mace to deal the armor-piercing effect. When done right, you're able to pop or even kill your opponents from very low heights, catching them off guard. This can also be done on the ground to deal up to 3 to 4 hearts of damage using your sword or axe to breach swap. The final technique I will be talking about is something you might have seen high-level players using. When they pearl onto their opponents when they are in the air to mace them. This is called grappling. It is a very straightforward method to attack your opponent, but is also very hard to time and consistently pull off. The main thing you need to know in grappling is when and where to throw your ender pearls. You will want to grapple onto a player when they are at the peak of their ascent, like when they are wind charging or pearl catching. You will also want to aim 1 to 2 blocks under their feet. This is because when your pearl is thrown, it takes time to reach them, and in that time, they will fall and collide with your ender pearl, allowing you to get a free hit and start winning your exchange. If you have found any of these tips helpful or interesting, then please like and subscribe. It would mean so much to me, and I've been wanting to hit 100 subs for a while now, and it would be also a great way to show that people enjoy these tutorials and want to see more stuff like it. Anyways, go have a good rest of your day, and go smash people with your newly acquired skills.